Hello, this is Joe from Model Shark Studio. In this video, we're going to show you how to use ProTips with an existing Legacy or OnGUI UI. Ideally, you would convert any existing UI elements in your project over to the new Canvas UI. But this isn't always practical. So we're going to show you a workaround that allows you to place tooltips over an existing OnGUI system. As you can see here, I have a simple project with a single scene and a script that adds OnGUI labels to my UI. If we look at the OnGUI label script, you can see that it just adds labels or buttons that when they're clicked, it just logs which button was clicked to the console. Switching back to our project, I'll just add the OnGUI labels to the main camera. You can see it down here. Now when I run the scene, I can see the buttons, and then when I click on them, you can see which one was clicked in the console. Now what I want to do is I want to add ProTips Tooltips on top of these. So the next thing I'll need to do is import ProTips from the asset store. Now that I have ProTips imported, I'll just click Quick Setup to set up my Tooltip Manager. Since my main camera is going to be rendering OnGUI elements, I'm going to need another camera to render canvas elements. So I'm going to create a new camera. And I'm going to delete the audio listener, the GUI layer, because that's for OnGUI, and then the flare layer. I'm going to set clear flags to depth only, and that will tell it to render this camera on top. And then in the culling mask, I'm going to choose nothing and then choose UI so that I have only the UI layer in the culling mask. I'll go back over to the main camera and set its culling mask to everything but the UI. Now I'm going to name the camera UGUI camera. So I'll know that this one is going to be rendering UGUI elements. And I'm going to go to my Tooltip Manager and tell it which camera is the UGUI camera. Now I need to create a new canvas. Go to UI, Panel, and that's going to automatically create a canvas with a panel and an event system. I'm hitting F to center it on my screen, and then going into 2D mode. Next, I'm going to set the canvas render mode to screen space camera, and then tell it which camera to use. That'll be my UGUI camera. And then I'm going to choose Pixel Perfect. That's a personal preference. Since I know that my OnGUI elements only cover a small portion of the screen, I'm going to set my canvas panel to cover that same area. So I'm just zooming in and adjusting it, its anchor point, to the top of the screen, and then just reducing its size. And I'm just kind of guessing at this point. Now if I run the scene, notice that the canvas panel is over the OnGUI buttons, and I can still click them. Now I want to add a tooltip trigger on top of these buttons. To do that, I'm going to create a smaller panel underneath my main panel and position it over the OnGUI elements. I'm setting its anchor. And just reducing its size to roughly the size of the button. And it looks like I'm a little off. It's very close. And bingo. Now I need to put a tooltip trigger on this panel. Under ProTips, Scripts, Behaviors, Tooltip Trigger, and I will call this button 1 tooltip. And I'll select a tooltip style from my list of prefabs. And if I run it, I should see a tooltip. Okay, so notice one problem is that the OnGUI buttons are still on top of my Canvas UI. But there's a fix for that. We just need to change the OnGUI script so that it allows us to input a camera. This will be our UGUI camera, and allows us to override at the bottom the rendering of our UGUI camera. This will make the UGUI camera render on top of the OnGUI elements. I'll save that, switch back to my project. And now we need to assign the UGUI camera. It's on our main camera. On our UGUI labels, we have no UGUI camera right now. And we will assign it to the UGUI camera. And now when I run the scene, and I mouse over, then we have the proper tooltip on top of all the OnGUI buttons. So now I just need to get rid of these overlays. Well, I'll get rid of this one, and I could just delete the image on it, but that won't work because it needs that image to raycast onto. So what we're going to do is replace this with a text element. Add my text components. It has the raycast target, which is going to intercept our mouse over events. And let's see if we're good. And we are. And notice how you can't see the little button overlay. I'll turn off the other panel too. So you can see that it's completely invisible, and we still have our tooltip. And I can still change the tooltip position to, say, mouse bottom right corner. And that's going to place it right on my mouse. So that's kind of a personal preference, whether you like it on the element or you like it on the mouse position. I hope you found this workaround useful, and thanks for watching.